Hello everyone, my name is Abhi Bhardwaj and I'm back with lecture series on science. Today's topic is again going to be focused on global warming and how it is starting to impact our climate. So I'm going to discuss about um, recent, weather pattern what we saw and observed in Canada. So, just to give you a little perspective, for the past 3 weeks, we had unprecedented amount of rainfall within a very short time, and that led to flooding of many townships all around Canada. Most importantly, in the state of Quebec and in Ontario. And when you look at Quebec currently, especially in Montreal, we see many suburban areas like Pierrefonds, Vaudreuil-Dorion, many of the South Shore areas are flooded and are underwater. Many homes are flooded, their basements have water, many roads are closed, highways are closed because of the water, and uh, especially Montreal is an island city, so you can imagine the water level has started rising all around Montreal, which is leading to water overflowing in many areas and flooding the streets and homes and highways. Um, Especially if you look in the area in the West Island, area of Montreal, we have a lot of problems here because of the water. And um, same thing is happening in Ottawa, which is capital of Canada. We saw for a couple of weeks we saw tremendous amount of uh, rainfall there as well, and and flooding all over. So I'm going to basically discuss about this topic because I feel that this is all of this is because of the climate which is changing, because of the global warming, and we all know that human activity is causing this change because the because of the different greenhouse gases we pump through various means. But end result of all these greenhouse gases is that it is starting to impact our climate now, and we can keep ignoring these things, but we need to be very careful now, and plan for such weather patterns in future. So we can see in near future we will have a lot more problems like this, what we saw in Canada. We were looking at the data and we haven't seen, for many hundreds of years we haven't seen such a high amount of rainfall in such a short time, which led to so much flooding and so much destruction of property here. And the point of my discussion is that we need to take this problem, and handle it in two different ways. One is that we have to plan ourselves. The government has to do that. The municipalities has to do that. Is that we have to plan for such disasters now because they are coming. Either it's going to be happening in springtime, in summertime, or in wintertime. We can have severe snowstorms, for instance. In spring we saw that we had severe rainfalls now, and all of this can impact our communities and threaten human life, and also there's going to be damage to our properties. So what we have to do is, as I mentioned, it has to be approached two way. Number one, we have to plan for such disasters. We have to be ready to help each other, and that goes globally. So any country which goes through that kind of devastation, the other countries has to help those countries and provide the infrastructure. And also we need to make sure that we take those steps which are required at the government level, at the highest level, to make sure that at least we reduce the impact of what is happening, because we are not still doing as much as we should be doing. And because of that, we will be, increasing this problem. So how do we make sure that the impact of such problem decreases in future? And only way to do that is to take action now. And we need to, stand up and say that we need more electric cars on the road rather than, rather than these the cars we have right now which are polluting. We have to make these changes in our entire transportation industry. We also have to, implement this law which basically make sure that industry doesn't pollute the way they are polluting. So we have to go for green technologies as much as possible, as quickly as possible, to reduce the impact of such problems. By the end of this video, I'm going to show some clips what happened in Canada, so you can see we haven't seen such rainfall ever. I mean, I've been here in this country for more than 20 years now, and I have never seen such devastation in such a short time. And it's heartening to see all. And I think, as global citizens, we have to take this very seriously and do something about it. And as I mentioned, the two-way approach we need. One is planning for such disasters and what to do if something like that happens, rather than scrambling for what we need to do, when it happens. And and we have to make those decisions which are required right now to make sure that we address this globally. And every leader from different country has to stand up and start taking action so that we could reduce the impact of global warming and climate change. Thanks for
sure that they can keep on top of the situation. So not only the Canadian Forces, firefighters, police as well, some going door to door, knocking on the residences that are affected to make sure that people are safe. Also urging those who are in flood risk areas to evacuate, to leave their homes in order to make sure that they are safe. The Red Cross also involved. And finally, we'll note that we know that the province of Quebec, again, one of the communities hardest hit, Pierrefonds as well. Well, we heard from the mayor of that community. Here's how overwhelmed they are there.
Uncertainty of what's happening upstream is...
Sort of a bigger picture. Are you open to changing the way that disaster assistance unfolds?
We'll no doubt have a very good conversation about this after the immediate emergency subsides. That's the normal thing to do, a complete analysis after the fact.
So as you guys saw in various clips, this is not a third world country. This is happening right here in Canada. And this all is happening not because there was sudden, some temporary weather which caused this. This is an indication of changing weather patterns because of climate change. And we need to take it very seriously at the government level. We need to take those steps which are required to address these problems. And we need to, as I mentioned, plan for such disasters now, because this is not one-time event. This can happen next year. This can happen somewhere else, or some other countries. And what we need to do is extend help. So first of all, plan for such disasters. For instance, in winter we can have a severe snowstorms which could knock off all the electricity. So what we need to do is plan for such disasters now, because we notice now that weather is changing and it is becoming more and more harsher, which is going to impact human population negatively. And we need to make sure that are we planned nationally and are we planned globally to deal with such disasters. And most importantly, at the leadership level, we need to make decisions, and they have to be done as much quickly as possible to make sure that we start addressing this global warming problem very seriously. Because if we do not do that, then we are heading for much more worse time in very near future. So my point here is to let's take this problem very seriously. Let's address this problem at the level it should be addressed, and take steps which needs to be taken so that we could at least reduce the amount of impact of such severe weather patterns which are coming our way. And also let's plan for such disasters, because I think we are going to see more and more of this, and we should not be unprepared to what to do in such circumstances. Thanks for watching.